and welcome to Startup Central. I'm Nayantara, working from home. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated to startups, technology, innovation, disruption, entrepreneurship. If it falls under the gambit of the new economy, it's here every day, every weekday at 6 p.m. right here on ET Now. Ladies and gentlemen, like all the stakeholders that we get on the show, Team Startup Central thrives on constructive feedback. Don't hold back. Keep writing into us. Tell us what you think of the show, how we should be doing things differently, what you'd like to see, what is missing. Our email address right on top, suc@etnow.tv. I'm also on Twitter. Feel free to reach out directly. Pitch to us. Who knows, maybe one day you'll even be a part of the show. Right, now what we saw during COVID-19 was that even if you weren't comfortable with it, even if your parents weren't, your family, your friends, they had no choice but to go digital. Gotta educate your kids, you gotta pay those bills, and what are you gonna do during a lockdown, right? Now what we've also seen therefore is a surge in digital transactions. In fact, we've already surpassed the government's entire year's target. My next guest today is actually has been ranked number 5, not by me, but the government of India in a report card it came out with. My next guest is Fino Payments Bank, and Fino Payments Bank, incidentally, has marquee investors. ICICI Group, which includes the bank, as well as ICICI Lombard, holding more than a 20% stake. BPCL, that's right, BPCL, the oil and gas giant, owns again about a 20% stake. Its other marquee investors include the likes of Blackstone. So let's find out more about fintech. Let's find out what the road ahead is. Incidentally, Fino is now clocking 35 million digital transactions worth 10,000 crores a month. So I thought it's a great time to get the top management here. And joining us for that is Rishi Gupta, the Managing Director and CEO at Fino Payments Bank. Rishi, thanks so much for giving this interview to Startup Central. I'm sure COVID-19 must have been a very busy but also a very lucrative time for Fino Payments Bank. Let's begin by asking you, 35 million digital transactions clocked. What's the target for the rest of the year, and especially as India unlocks?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to come and talk. See, when the COVID-19 started to happen and the lockdown impacted, we went into a kind of a shell for the first few days, and then the government announced various plans and programs. And then we started to see there's a lot of digital push which started to come, and people started to transact digitally. Fino is a very rural focused entity. Our customer segments are largely middle income to lower income group. We were able to, on a monthly basis, about 10 to 12,000 crores of transactions we do on digital platforms per month. Our target for this year was to reach 2 lakh crores of transactions for the full year. I think we are on track to achieve it. Within the first 3 months, we have done more than 30,000 crores. And as the India unlocks in the future, we are expecting to do more transactions, maybe 50,000 to 60,000 crores of transactions every quarter. As the economy opens up and more transactions are going into the space. In terms of, if I look at the remittance business, which got impacted during the first month or so, that business has also come back to about 60% levels as such. So as the unlocking happens, we are expecting more transactions to grow. About 50 to 60,000 crores per quarter is something we are targeting.
You know, I want to ask you this. You are, of course, backed by some of the largest investors anybody could dream of, right? ICICI Lombard, ICICI Bank, Blackstone, even, the government's oil and gas giant BPCL. But what you're also seeing in the digital payment space is the likes of WhatsApp, Amazon, Google, trying to enter in a big way. Jio's also there. Are you prepared for this kind of competition backed by these global giants?
Understand the difference between the customer segment which we are serving as well as the customer segment which they are serving. So if I look at the big tech companies which you just named, those are companies which are focusing more on the urban P2P transfers, which is there. whereas we are focusing more on the rural segment, the lower to middle income segment. Our job is to actually digitize cash. So we are converting cash into digital and digital into cash. So that is where our focus is more in terms of converting cash to digit and digit to cash, compared to some of those companies who are already having the money in the bank account and they are using it for transfer from one person to the other person. So the focus of Fino has been more on the merchant ecosystem, which we have created over the last 3 years. We have more than 250,000 merchants all across the country. Any nook and corner of the country you will go, you will see Fino merchant being present there. Our focus is to more on the IMPS, which is mobile payment systems, the Aadhaar-enabled payment systems, and on the mobile app transactions which are there. So the big tech are focusing more on the urban, the elite and the middle income and above, where our focus is more on the rural and the bottom of the half, the half pyramid which is there. So the focus are very different between the two entities and the two set of companies which you are comparing with. Obviously, they have a lot of capital and they have a lot of long-term play or long shots they can do. We are more focused in terms of getting our distribution in place, getting the right technology, and working with a lot of partners. As you rightly said, we have those investors who are there. So they are also our partners. Some of them are our distribution partners, some of them are banking partners, some of them are insurance partners. So we work more on a collaborative approach, working along with distribution and partnership companies as such.
What do you get with BPCL? Is it distribution, and do you worry that 31st July is supposed to be one of the deadlines for prospective bidders to submit a bid for the privatization of BPCL? We don't know who the bidder is going to be, if it's going to be finalized, if BPCL is going to be privatized. What does that mean for Fino?
So we don't fear in terms of privatization of BPCL. What we get from BPCL is the distribution on the retail outlets, which are there, the petrol pumps, some 15,000 petrol pumps which are there, and Bharat Gas, which is the LPG distribution network which they have. So they are amongst the top three players in India as far as the oil and gas distribution is concerned. So a lot of their points, somewhere around 70,000 points, are already become banking points for Fino, in which people can go and withdraw money, deposit money, do remittances, buy insurance, open an account. So a lot of those products are there. And if BPCL becomes privatization, as you said, the process is already on. We don't fear that this will hamper the distribution of the ecosystem which has got created. See, the idea of BPCL investing in Fino was to leverage their network, and they wanted to also add other services to their already existing oil network. And they have started to see the benefit of having a banking outlet along with an oil outlet is that a lot of people are now coming to do banking transactions, especially during COVID. We saw people coming to do banking transaction in a petrol pump and also filling up oil. So BPCL did their own study in terms, and they saw that the petrol pumps which are offering banking outlets did better than the petrol pumps which were not offering banking outlets. So the customer pull is coming and they are leveraging the network. And I think with privatization, it is only going to benefit.
Okay, so you will only see benefits. Can I ask you that having Blackstone and the ICICI Group financial giants as important shareholders, marquee investors, what do they bring, and do they help Fino therefore differentiate as well, like you were pointing out to me?
Yeah, so ICICI, Fino started within ICICI and then became a separate company 14 years back. So we got a lot of expertise from ICICI on the entire structure of the company, the entire regulation when we converted into a bank 3 years back. And we continue to be a business partner for ICICI Bank. We also are corporate bank insurance partner for ICICI Pru and ICICI Lombard. So both on insurance and banking, we are able to leverage that partnership. With Blackstone, we are able to connect with a lot of investors. They bring in a lot of international global insights into the company. So we are quite fortunate to have a mix of both private, public, foreign and domestic investors. And the entire ecosystem around investors have been quite good in the last 10 to 14 years in Fino, both in terms of the experience, the linkages which they are able to bring to the company.
Now, you've talked to me about what your target transactions are going forward. Of course, COVID-19, I'm sure, accelerated a lot of those plans. Are you looking at any of the other businesses within the ambit of digital transactions? Whether it is micro lending, whether it is insurance distribution. You're now hearing also a lot about, for example, digital wealth management.
You are absolutely right. In fact, Fino grew about 86% in last financial year. We also became profitable as a bank, and we continue to be profitable during COVID situation. The focus for us, as far as products are concerned, in the future is definitely the credit products which we are focusing on. We have already started piloting on merchant credit, and then we are also going to focus on customer credit, largely personal loans, your two-wheeler loans, tractor loans, some of those loan categories which we are going to focus on. Second is in terms of when we look at international remittance, and that is an area where we see there is a lot of breakages, and it's a broken offering currently, and there is a lot of scope on terms of international remittance is concerned. So both on credit as well as international remittance, we are quite positive and upbeat and very very optimistic this that the COVID will offer a lot of opportunities on that side, especially as you rightly said on microcredit as such. On COVID insurance, just one example which we started during the COVID period, we saw a big thrust on that, and a lot of people started to buy COVID insurance in the month of May and June. So we will continue to focus ourselves on micro insurance, both on health as well as on life per se as we go forward. And we are seeing that the demand for micro products, micro transactions, micro products, micro credit is growing up very very significantly in the and we expect that that growth will continue post COVID also, and Fino will definitely benefit because of creating such a big distribution network across the country. So that should benefit us, and with technology and the right partnerships, we think we'll be able to take the maximum utilization of this opportunity which is there. In fact, COVID to Fino is creating opportunities in virus infected days.
Rishi, what I want to ask you, sorry to interject there. Sorry to interject there. When I've been talking of late to fintech companies, there has been one thought that I can't stop having. What is going to be the role of the traditional banks if we're going to have future digital payment banks like yourselves doing a lot of what people like you and me would go to a bank for, right? And but what they do have is a network, a brand, trust, and also the power as far as collections go. Where would a Fino be in that perspective? It's all good to say micro lending and all of that, but how do you decide that only the credit worthy are getting the loans? And how difficult is it or more costly is it for you to make sure the collections are on track?
In fact, in fact, the role of the bank and the fintech is something which is lot of debate is already going on. And what my belief is that it is more of a collaborative role which the bank and the fintech companies will play together, because fintech offers a lot of convenience and agility, and whereas bank offers a lot of trust and compliance and risk perspectives. So both the things are required as the transaction volumes and the technology scales up to meet the demand. Right now, we do about 10 crores of transactions every day as an ecosystem in the country. The target is to reach to 100 crores in the next 5 years per day. So that is the level which we are as a country we are moving into. So having said that, so as far as Fino is concerned, we continue to focus ourselves on the transaction platform, on the payment ecosystem, and on top of that, we try to add a lot of products on insurance and credit. Going forward, couple of years from now, payments bank have an opportunity to convert into a small finance bank, which means that we can also do lending on our own ecosystem, on our own books. So Fino will move into becoming a small finance bank in which we can do the lending on our own books. So that is the roadmap as far as we see in Fino, to continue to be a profitable entity, to continue to focus on rural, to continue to focus on digital products, as well as offer more on credit and insurance and international remittance going forward.
So as you focus on international remittances, and of course, India is one of the largest markets for that, is documented by the World Bank as well. But as you focus on this aspect of the business and become a small finance bank, is that really going to be possible also, just given your shareholding? Is that possible? Because if you have ICICI Group owning more than a 20% stake, how can Fino be, do the regulations allow that? And by when do you want it to be? How profitable are you?
So on that question, in terms of the regulation-wise, ICICI Bank owns less than 10% in Fino. So as a bank, they don't own more than 10%. So there is no issues on the regulation side. As far as Fino as a profitable entity, yes, Fino made profits. Last year, we did about a 10 crores of operating profit last year, and we continue to be operating profit and bottom line profit in this year as well. So from a regulation wise, we don't see any challenge, and from a profitability point also, we don't see any challenge to convert into a small finance bank. The timing wise, the RBI guideline says it has to be 5 years of operations as a payments bank. We have already completed more than 3 years. So another couple of years we will have to wait. Right now, looking at the COVID situation, when I look at that, the asset has become a liability and liabilities have become asset. So it will also give us some timeline to understand the market post-COVID, especially on the credit side, and how will it evolve in the next couple of years. We see a new normal to emerge in both in transaction digitization as well as on lending side. So it is a good opportunity for us to study this new market which will evolve in the next couple of years before we convert ourselves into a small finance bank.
Rishi Gupta, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Here's wishing you and the entire team at Fino all the very best. Like I pointed out, the government has given it an outperformer ranking and part of the top 5 when it comes to digital transactions in the country. That was by the government of India. As Fino Bank for you, harboring ambitions of becoming a small finance bank, has crossed its own targets when it comes to the year's digital transactions.